Millions of hectares of land currently look like this: overgrazed, overfarmed, stripped of nutrients, leaving a surface that appears completely dead and seemingly beyond repair. In this state, the ground has fallen out of biological balance. Restoration begins by recreating the specific environment where those natural systems can function again. To trigger this recovery, you need a few physical tools. Gather a supply of straw mulch, dark organic compost, a variety of pioneer seeds, and a standard shovel. Success does not come from forcing the land to produce. You are physically building the conditions that allow the soil to heal itself from the ground up. Your first priority is to physically shield the soil. Exposed dirt loses moisture to evaporation almost instantly and remains vulnerable to erosion from wind and rain. You must spread a thick, continuous layer of mulch using straw, leaves, or crop residue. Continue until there is no bare earth visible from above. This mulch acts as a thermal shield. While exposed ground absorbs intense heat, the soil beneath this layer remains significantly cooler and more regulated. Once the surface is protected, you can begin feeding the system. Introduce organic matter, such as compost or aged manure, directly under the mulch layer. Use a shovel to lightly incorporate this organic matter into the top layer of dirt. Be careful to only disturb the surface. Do not engage in deep tilling. Deep tilling is a mistake because it aggressively churns the earth. This process destroys the fragile underground biological structures that the soil needs to recover. This combination of shielding and feeding reawakens dormant microorganisms. As they begin to work, they physically soften the soil texture, preparing it to receive water. On degraded land, the compacted surface effectively repels moisture. Instead of soaking in, rainwater rushes off the surface, taking valuable soil with it. To fix this, you must reshape the slope. Dig a shallow trench, using the dirt to build a small berm on the downhill side. This structure is known as a swale or a contour. You must dig these trenches horizontally across the natural slope of the land. This allows the berm to catch descending water rather than letting it channel downhill. When it rains, the water hits this earthen barrier and stops. It spreads out horizontally along the length of the trench. Because the water is trapped, it slowly percolates downward. This creates a deep reservoir of moisture within the soil profile. You can test your work using a hose. Simulate rainfall above the trench and watch to ensure the water pools against the berm and begins to sink vertically into the ground. By forcing water to stop and sink, the soil becomes softer and better at holding water. You have now created a viable habitat for plants. The final physical step is sowing pioneer plants. These specific species are adapted to thrive in poor soil and help accelerate the recovery process. You will need a mix of hardy grasses to stabilize the topsoil and legumes to build fertility. Legumes pull nitrogen from the air, storing it in root nodules to fertilize the soil from the inside. Hardy grasses complement this. Their dense roots intertwine with the legumes, locking the softened soil in place and preventing erosion. With the physical work finished, you must address the cause of the original damage. If the land management doesn't change, the soil will simply degrade again. This means adopting new practices, such as rotating grazing animals to allow the land to rest, or utilizing crop rotations that keep the soil covered year-round. The physical intervention is complete. The final requirement is patience, allowing these biological cycles the time they need to compound and take over. Compare your starting point to the newly established recovery zone. The parched earth has been replaced by a system protected by mulch, supported by swales, and housing the first new sprouts of growth. Over the next few months, you will see the soil physically darken as organic matter breaks down. Insects will return to the site, and the ground will remain moist even days after a rain. These individual patches of restored land build local food security and create a landscape that is resilient to drought. Each square meter of healthy soil acts as a reservoir, holding more water to promote climate stability. Environmental damage is not a permanent state. You can reverse it by working in alignment with nature. Subscribe to explore more ways to restore the balance of the land.